Good evening, everybody. I'm going to start something new every week, at least for the next couple of months, while the UFL season is in full force. I've been tinkering around with it for the first couple of weeks, and I've been doing really well. And I want to try to give these picks out a little early because last week's parlay that I played went from a minus 133 opening to closing at like a minus 160. And it cashed fairly easily. Um, I think now that we're going into week number 4, I can kind of see um, which teams are going to be really good and which ones aren't. I mean, I had a funny feeling before the season started which ones were, and I mean, I was pretty close on most of them. There might be one sleeper team that's playing like above their head right now, maybe, or maybe they're for real. Um, but we'll get into all that. The first game of the week is Thursday night, Louisville versus Houston. Arguably the two worst teams in the league, even though Houston does have a win on the season. Um, they haven't played that good. Their offense is pretty. Here's the funny part about them. They're actually putting up some halfway decent yards, um, but they're just not scoring, and and they've given up 101 points so far, which is leading. I believe that leads the league in points allowed. So, um, but anyways, I was just trying to look something up real quick. Sorry. But anyways, they are at home this week versus Louisville, and Louisville's 0-3, and they've got one of the worst offenses in the league. Also, these two teams have scored 46 and 49 points, you know, total for each team. Um, but Louisville's got a solid defense. They got, I think his name is Cam Gill. He's leading the team with 3.5 sacks. They actually do throw the ball quite a bit. But 95% of their passing yards are going deep. They've got 5 receivers with 30 yard plus reception already on the season. They average almost 15 yards of completion, which is leading the league by at least 3 to 4 yards. So, I mean, they are relying on the deep ball to even move the ball, and they're not even moving the ball that well. Their running game is pretty weak. Their offensive line's fairly weak. I, I really think Houston's going to be the better team here. They're at home. Um, they're and home field advantage in the UFL, at least in my opinion, is huge. So here are my two likes for the game. These are by no means a lock, but I do like them quite a bit. And that is Houston plus 2.5 and money line plus 125. I would look around for a plus 3. Like if you could find a plus 3 for a minus 115 range, I would play it. Um, I did put like point 5 units or something like that on the money line just to have something for the game. Um, I really think Houston wins this game outright, even though I will say this. I think they got one of the worst coaching staffs also. They have made quite a few mistakes, at least in my opinion. Um, but that's and the other thing on Houston is let me look and see if they have any updates on any of their injuries. So it looks like they've got 2 quarterbacks that are currently out, and it looks like at yesterday's practice, their backup quarterback Nolan Henderson. It looks like he was limited at practice, so that's a good sign. But their number one quarterback, Hunter Deckers, um, did not participate. So if if Deckers is back, I really like this. If Henderson plays, I still like it, but if they're both out, I'd probably stay away. It's if they're both out, it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa, whatever his name is. It'd be his younger brother. So if they're both out, but that's what I played. That's my lean for that game. The next game is Dallas versus Columbus. They run this back again. They literally just played yesterday. Dallas did not play that well in the first half. But then they started. You could really see their offense starting to click in the second half. They had a couple stalled drives in the fourth quarter, but they were up 11 points at that point. They only won the game by 5, but it was. I'm expecting them to put up a pretty big number this time. They've got the number one passing attack. Reed averages 326 passing yards a game. He's got 9 touchdown passes. They've got one of the best receivers in the league in Vaughn. He's got 4 touchdowns, 23 receptions, 331 yards receiving. And just a couple little tidbits on Columbus. 23% of their kickoffs are touchbacks, which isn't good because if it's a touchback, it starts at the 40. And then their third down per percentage is pretty low too at 32%. So their offense isn't the best, and their defense is pretty weak. I think they've given up like 95 points on the season or something like that. So they're like second or third worst defense in the league on points allowed. Yeah, they've allowed 95 points. They are by far the number 2 worst defense, I believe. Yes, by like 20 points. Them and Houston are the 2 worst defenses in the league. So Dallas has the number 1 offense. I'm looking for Dallas to put up 31 points in this game. If Columbus reaches 14 or 15 points, I think we get the over. I'm using Dallas in a money line on a parlay. I'm going to stay off of them on the -4.5 only because they're on the road, and home teams are so far in this league. They're 9-3 this season, so I'm going to stay off of them on the point spread at -4.5. But I do lean that way. But I do like the over. What the freak? There. Okay. Next, we've got. Oh shoot! Yeah, I never even popped up the over. There's my over 46.5 -110. I would put that like in the like category, not necessarily a lock or most confident play or anything like that. It's something I will more than likely end up playing. I just haven't played it yet. And then the next game we've got St. Louis Battlehawks versus the DC Defenders. St. Louis is one of these teams that I'm gonna back them at home, and I'm more than likely gonna fade them on the road. I think they got the number 1 home field advantage in the entire league. I would say right now them and Louisville look to be having some pretty solid crowds right now at home. But both of those teams are on the road this week. So I'm gonna fade St. Louis this week and go with the DC Defenders. It looks like St. Louis is going to be sticking with their backup quarterback, Frost. He came in yesterday. He came in halfway through the game, and at first he played really bad. He threw a couple interceptions, but then he ended up coming around, and they put up 34 points yesterday, which is quite a bit. Now, mind you, They put up 34 points yesterday, but yet they've only scored 65 points on the season. So, I don't know. I don't know how to take that. And then the DC Defenders have the number one rushing attack in the league. They're averaging 153 yards a game. They've got 460 yards rushing as a team already. Deion Jackson, I think, leads the team with like 220 yards and 5 touchdowns. They've got 11 sacks on defense. So, trying to see what else I had written. Oh, they have also got the best kicker in the league. He will be on an NFL team next season. He's already nailed 260 yarders, which in this league is a 4-point play. So, I mean, I really like DC at home, and this is what I played. This is my most confident play of the week. It is Dallas money line, DC money line plus 102. That is by far my most confident play. I like that play a lot. So that's what I'm playing. Dallas and DC on the money line plus 102. That's available on DraftKings and FanDuel right now at basically the same price. So that's my most confident play. And then other than that, I do lean, which I'll pull them up at the end of the show because I got like 2 or 3 of them to pull up. I got 2 of them to pull up and talk about. So, and then the last game of the week is Orlando versus Birmingham. I've gone back and forth on this one because I really like Orlando's quarterback room. They've got the 2 best, like, combined quarterbacks in the league. They have the best quarterback room in the league, and Jack Plummer and DTR. They both have spent time in the NFL, and I think Jack Plummer's playing pretty solid. He's thrown for 672 yards, 6 touchdowns, and they've got a solid trio of receivers. They've got Roland, who's their number one, who's got 21 catches, 195 yards. Then they got, I believe his name is DJ Hamler or something like that. I know his last name is Hamler. He's got 8 catches for 161. I believe he spent a little time maybe on the Buffalo Bills practice squad, or maybe he was even on their active roster for like a minute or 2. And then they've got a third receiver, Badger, who's got 10 catches for 200 yards. So they have a solid trio of receivers. This is a solid team. They're the team that has come out of nowhere that I wasn't expecting them to be great, but it looks like they're solid. They've only allowed 52 points on the season. They've only scored 71, which is decent, but it's not like I would put this team probably as I would put them kind of tied with St. Louis right now as my 4th best team in the league. I would do Dallas, Dallas, DC. It's tough. It's definitely Dallas and DC are 1 and 2, and then number 3. I mean, 3 you could say St. Louis and Orlando are tied, maybe, and then Birmingham, or possibly Birmingham first, then the Dallas, then the St. Louis and Orlando. But now on the Birmingham side, Matt Corral is their starting quarterback. He's been solid at times this season, but a little inconsistent also. He's got 685 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. Birmingham's a pretty solid team, though. They've got a solid defense. They've only scored 65 points in 3 games. That's my question mark with them. But with this game here, they're at home. And like I've been repeating, a little bit, saying I just feel like home field advantage in the UFL is huge. And I'm going to lean Birmingham in this game, but I would not be surprised if Orlando's in it. Orlando's had a couple close wins, so I could definitely see them giving this one up. So my two likes are DC Defenders -3.5 and Birmingham on the money line at a -130. Those are my two likes. Also, um, if you want to just get like if just for fun, I think I think the overs are going to start hitting at a high clip. They went 4-0 this last weekend, and before this weekend, in the first 2 weeks, the unders hit in 6 out of the first 8 games. But and this is kind of the trend that this league took last year. Also, was in the beginning of the season, the unders were hitting, and then as the season went on, it just started being overs. And if you don't follow this league, a couple of things to keep in mind: a 60-yard field goal or longer is a 4-point field goal. There is, if you cross the 50-yard line and there's more than 2 minutes to go in the half or the game, you have to go for it on fourth down. It doesn't matter if you get to the opponent's 49-yard line and then you lose 5 yards, you still have to go for it. So that's kind of different. Makes things a little interesting. And then trying to think of, you've got 3 options on an extra point. You got the 1-point extra point for a kick. You got the 2-point. I believe they do the 2-point from like the 4 or 5 yard line in this league. And then the 3-point, I believe, is from like the 7, if I'm not mistaken. They have a 3-point attempt also on an extra after a touchdown. And then trying to see if there's anything else that I'm missing on their rule. Oh, you can challenge anything. Like for instance, if you're on offense and you feel like you had offense or defensive pass interference and it wasn't called, you can throw the challenge flag for that. I've actually seen that work out already once this season. So, there's just a couple little rules that are different. It's not a bad product. There's a handful of players that I could see getting a shot in the NFL again. But that's my breakdown on my first UFL breakdown. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you have any questions or, questions about a game and how I feel or comments, or I'd love to see like what your picks are, and, maybe we can cash some tickets together here. But I hope everyone has a great night and hopefully we cash some tickets this week.